Hello, welcome to Fluent in Finance, Financial Secretaries Conference 2021. I'm Doris Shivers and I'm a part of the Grant Innovation Team. And today I'm going to talk to you about the grant process in CMS. Again, the Grant Innovation Team currently consists of just me. I work with all learning communities, all departments, anyone in the district that wants to work on a grant. On the screen, you will see the email, the general email, and the team phone number. What is a grant? A grant is an award of funds for services or materials given from one organization to another. It's an award or gift of specific items. It's like a contract between a grantor and a grantee. Grants are project specific and should be based on your needs, not your wants. Once your grant is offered and the grantee accepts it, the grantee must agree and follow the guidelines based on the original proposal. What are some types of grants? Competitive grants are grants in which the applicant designs the project proposal and the funding agency ranks the proposal based on the grant awards in a competitive process. Collaborative grants are funding that is based on partnerships across organizations or institutions. In CMS, this also refers to grant proposals in which the school or the district is not the lead applicant, and is not also the fiscal agent of the grant, but you are working with someone else, you're collaborating, working on a grant. Entitlement grants, a lot of you may be familiar with those. That's funding for non-competitive grants that is based on a formula, so you're probably familiar with the Title I, Title II, etc. Where does the grant money come from? Great question. Federal grants, state grants, local grants, we also have foundation grants. Federal grants can come directly to the school district. State grants, such as your entitlement grants, are pass-throughs. They come from the federal government to the state, then to the school districts. And then also your local government grants can come directly to the school district. There are also other ways, foundations and other organizations that offer grant opportunities that can come directly to the school district. Anytime we work on a grant, even a collaborative grant or a entitlement grant, we always make sure that all the grants align with CMS Strategic Plan 2024, what matters most. And you will see that the purpose of that is to build CMS capacity to secure and manage grant funding to advance Strategic Plan 2024. CMS also has a board policy for grants, and a lot of you may be familiar with this. If you have a grant, it's a competitive grant, you're competing, and it's over $50,000, or it's $15,000, and it requires a cash or in-kind match, those grants must be approved by CMS Board of Education. The board does not approve grants under $50,000. Collaborative grants where you or the school or the district is not the lead applicant, any kind of letters of intent, or grants submitted by CMS Foundation, PTA, and PTO. Those entities have their own tax ID number. That is the reason why the board does not approve those grants. The role of the Grant Innovation Team: we help you identify and inform schools, departments, and the entire district of any funding opportunity that is available for us to apply for. We help you with the grant development process. We assist you with the internal board approval process that I just went over. We help you also collaborate with community partners. A lot of times schools or nonprofit organizations in the community want to partner with the school. We sit down with you and that community partner to make sure that everyone is on the same page, everyone agrees to what the grant is implying, and that we all understand what the rules and regulations are for the grant and for reporting. We also provide professional development, and again, we help you once you have been awarded that grant, we help you with that grant management. So let's look at the pre-award proposal development stages. So here again, we help you find the grant. We help you with developing your project idea. So if you have a problem or a need, or you want to address a situation at your school, we're here to help you. We help you look at your goals and objectives, any kind of outcomes. What is the outcome and how is it going to impact the students? And we also look at how much you're going to request. And at that particular time, we start a timeline for you. Again, we're a very small team, and we want to make sure that we give all the grants individual attention. So we set a timeline for you, and we ask that you adhere to that timeline. Again, we start looking for grants, and we help you identify a funding source. So just say, for instance, you want a book grant. So we start looking for organizations that fund books. So then we make sure, once we find an organization, we look at that, what we call the RFP, which is a request for a proposal. We look at all the guidelines. We look at what that budget range is. We look at any kind of special conditions that they are going to be asking for. Then we help you with starting developing that proposal. We start definitely planning early. We make sure, again, we start reading through those guidelines, and then we start drafting a budget based on the budget range for that particular grant opportunity. Next, we start with developing a proposal. So here we read the guidelines again. We make sure if we have any questions that we cannot answer, we contact the funder and ask them those various questions. Again, we identify those critical requirements. Again, that budget is very important. If there's any kind of equipment, space, any kind of cost sharing, any type of partners that are required, and also looking at what approvals are necessary. Again, in the development stage, we look at budget templates. The budget is very important. Budget templates, we also help you craft a budget narrative. We look at any fringe rates if you are hiring personnel. We look at any kind of overhead costs. So again, we help you with the budget development and the whole entire grant process. Pre-award, again, we review your proposal. So once we've crafted and help you develop the proposal, we review the proposal. We make sure, again, that we adhere to those timelines. If the grant is over $50,000, or if it's $15,000 and requires a cash or in-kind match, then we route the grant for Board of Education approval. That is various approvals within the district. So again, we stick with that timeline to make sure that we are giving each one of those approvals ample time to read and review your grant. After it's been approved, we help you assemble the package. A lot of times the grants are online, so we make sure that we have saved a copy. If you're working in Microsoft Word, make sure that you have saved the copy of your grant before you submit it. Again, we help you submit that grant if it's online or if it's to be mailed. And our office is the clearinghouse for all grants, so we keep a copy of the grant that you submit. And again, once your proposal is funded, we said, now what? It's been approved. So here is where we work with you on grant management. Again, we're with you from the entire time, from finding the grant until actually implementing the grant and also managing the grant. So once your grant has been awarded, we are so excited. We'll send you a congratulations letter. We're like, yes. So we want you to meet with that grant person in your school. So the financial secretary, you will be receiving information. A lot of times the funders will send the check directly to your school, or they'll send it to the actual grant manager at the school. But at that time, we ask that you meet with the grant manager, congratulate them on getting the grant, make sure you get a full copy of the grant, and especially the budget. So this is the role that you'll be playing as far as helping them with managing the grant. We meet with the budget and finance team once a month, and we review all the grants. So again, we continue to monitor your grant progress. So I'll give you an example. If you received the grant in January, it's $10,000. Here it is July, and you still have $10,000. We would definitely contact you and ask you, if there are some issues, what's the problem, why you're not spending the funding. But of course, we wouldn't wait 6 months. We give you at least 2 or 3 months to begin your implementation, and then after that, our office will be contacting you to see how we can help you move this grant along. Because again, the funder was gracious enough. You went through the application process, very competitive. You received the grant, so we definitely want to be good stewards of the money and work with you on spending the money according to the original grant proposal. So some of our responsibilities is we work with you. We make sure you get all your reports in. Some funders ask for progress reports every 6 months. Some ask for them annually. But we make sure that your progress and your financial reports are all submitted in a timely manner and that they coordinate. Again, you begin to start your project. Again, every month, we want to make sure that you're reconciling your reports and your accounts. At the very end of the grant, we help you with closeout. Again, all through the process, we are working with you. So when it's time for closeout, there shouldn't be a lot that you have to collect. But we make sure that you close out the grant. Again, our office is a clearinghouse, and we want to make sure that we keep a copy of that final report. And hopefully after that, you are very comfortable with your grant process. On to the next grant. So again, about grant management, we help you coordinate the grant management activities. We want to make sure you are in full compliance with all the grant requirements. We again monitor your grant implementation and spending. We serve as a liaison between you, the grant manager, and the finance department to make sure that we are ensuring proper fiscal management. Again, we review all your interim, annual, and final reports, and we keep a copy on file. And again, we assist you with grant closeout procedures. So what role do you play in grant management? Financial secretaries, I guess you said that was a lot. But again, upon receipt, make sure you send the budget office all checks. Any checks over $2,000, you make sure that you send into the budget office. Make sure you keep a copy of your grant award. Make sure any emails or correspondence from the funder, and make sure you keep a copy of the grant application along with the budget. Schedule that meeting with that grant manager to review that budget and timeline again. Meet with that grant manager on a regular basis. Make sure that you are monitoring their grant spending in Lawson. Provide any grant documents that they may need. They will come to you wanting to do purchase orders, invoices, maybe payroll, just making sure that you and that grant manager have copies of all the documentation. Okay, now let's see what you know. If your school receives a check, if the check is under what dollar amount would you deposit it into your school checking account? $2,000. If your check is over $1,999, send the check and any documents to the budget office. Fund 880 are for donations when you receive funding from funders and there's no reporting requirement. Fund 884 are for grants or any donations that the funder is asking for reports. PTA checks are deposited into school checking account. True or false? That is false. Again, the PTA is their own separate entity, and they have their own tax ID number, so those checks are deposited into the PTA account. Grant purchases. Always follow purchasing guidelines for your expenditures regardless of the funding source. Amazon, we're sorry to say, is not a CMS approved vendor for purchase orders, which is false. Grant funds are eligible for sales tax credit. That is absolutely true. Grant purchase items are attached to the school, not the grant manager. That is true. When grant managers, when teachers or anyone in your school apply for grants, that grant belongs to the school, not the grant manager. The grant manager can purchase items not listed in the original budget. That is false. The only way the grant manager can purchase items that are not listed in the original budget is they've gone back to the funder and asked for approval, and they have received that approval in writing. So some key tips to remember: contact us before applying for any grants. Make sure all your grants align with the CMS Strategic Plan 2024. Adhere to grant timelines and the proposal deadlines. Again, you are the grant writer. We're here to support all your grant efforts. Build any collaborations and partnerships early. Notify us if you awarded a grant. We are here to support you. Thank you so much. Again, this is the Grant Innovation Team. I'm in the atrium on the 3rd floor, Suite 350. That is our team email and team phone number. And again, I'm Doris Shivers. And if you have any questions, any comments, working on any grants, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.